6 minutes after takeoff, the pilots of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 were fighting their own airplane. A single faulty sensor had convinced the plane's computer that it was about to stall. So the computer did exactly what it was built to do. It pushed the nose down, again and again. The pilots pulled back, the system pushed harder. 26 seconds later, all 157 people on board were gone. Here's the part that should scare you. That computer wasn't malfunctioning. It was working perfectly on bad information. And that's the real story of Autopilot in 2026. It's not about machines breaking down. It's about what happens when we hand over control to something that can be completely confident and completely wrong. So the question isn't whether Autopilot works. It's whether you can trust it when it fails. This isn't just a story about planes. Right now, in the United States, there are cars driving down American streets with nobody touching the wheel. There are trains in cities around the world moving thousands of people a day without a single human in the cab. And there's a fight happening in Washington and Silicon Valley and inside your own car's dashboard over one question: how much control are we willing to give up? We're going to look at 4 kinds of autopilot: cars, robotaxis, planes, and trains. And we're going to use real numbers, not marketing slogans. Some of what you're about to hear will genuinely surprise you. And by the end, you'll understand something most people don't. Autopilot is already flying, driving, and steering more of your life than you probably realize. Tesla says its cars are 9 times safer than you are. That's the headline from Tesla's November 2025 safety report. Vehicles using full self-driving go nearly 5.3 million miles between major collisions, compared to roughly 660,000 miles for the average American driver. 9 times safer. Tesla put that number in writing. In May 2026, Reuters checked the math and found a critical flaw. Tesla was comparing its most severe crashes, the ones where airbags deploy, against a much broader category of national data that includes minor fender benders needing nothing more than a tow truck. When a University of Michigan researcher redid the comparison properly, 9 times safer collapsed to roughly 3 times safer. Still good, just not what was advertised. But here's the detail that really lands. Reuters spoke to 9 former Tesla employees whose job was reviewing full self-driving footage, frame by frame, for the company. 7 of them said they personally would not trust the system to drive them anywhere. One described watching the software nearly hit a group of construction workers. Another described near misses with children in crosswalks week after week. Think about that. The people paid to watch this technology fail up close more than almost anyone else on Earth, and most of them said, no thanks. Picture this. You're in the back of a robotaxi. No driver's seat, just a screen. The car is doing 90 kilometers an hour on a busy ring road, and it stops. Dead. Not pulled over, just frozen, mid-lane, in traffic. That happened in Wuhan, China, in April 2026. Over 100 robotaxis from Baidu locked up at once on a fast-moving highway. Passengers were stuck inside moving traffic for nearly 2 hours. One rider said the screen told them help was 5 minutes away. Help never came. When she hit the SOS button, it didn't work. Now here's the twist. The company behind the technology most people actually trust with this, Waymo, has a much better track record. Waymo has logged over 220 million fully driverless miles, enough to circle the Earth almost 9,000 times. Independent, peer-reviewed research, not a company press release, found 90% fewer injury crashes and 82% fewer airbag deployment crashes compared to human drivers on the same roads. Waymo is scaling fast. 10+ U.S. cities, testing in 20 states, 1 million paid rides a week, targeted by the end of 2026, with Tokyo and London next. But scale creates new failure modes nobody planned for. In December 2025, a power outage froze Waymo cars mid-intersection across San Francisco for hours. A machine that drives better than a tired human 99.9% of the time can still fail in ways no human ever would. And when it does, there's no one behind the wheel to take over. There's nobody in the seat at all. Here's something that will change how you think about your next flight. How much of that trip do you think the pilots actually fly by hand? Take a guess. The real answer, somewhere between 1 and 10%. Nearly 80% of commercial flights involve less than 4 minutes of manual flying total. On a 6-hour flight from New York to Los Angeles, pilots might physically touch the controls for less than 30 minutes. Everything else, climb, cruise, most of the descent, is the machine. This is not new. The first Autopilot flew in 1912, less than a decade after the Wright brothers. Today, the International Civil Aviation Organization requires it on any commercial aircraft carrying more than 20 passengers. Not an option. The law. So why don't more people know this? Because for 60 years it worked, right up until Boeing built a system called MCAS, designed to quietly push the nose down if a sensor thought the plane was about to stall. Boeing didn't fully explain it to pilots. Some unions didn't even know it existed. In October 2018, one faulty sensor triggered it on Lion Air Flight 610 over the Java Sea. The crew fought it for 11 minutes. All 189 people aboard died. 5 months later, the same failure hit the flight you heard about at the very start of this video. 346 people, 2 crashes, 1 piece of code that trusted a single sensor without asking for a second opinion. Every 737 MAX on Earth was grounded for nearly 2 years. Boeing paid over $2 billion in penalties and settlements. The lesson wasn't automation is bad, it was sharper than that. Automation is only as trustworthy as its worst-case failure, and the humans it doesn't warn in time. If cars and planes are still arguing about trust, trains settled it years ago, and almost nobody talks about it. As of 2025, the Riyadh Metro in Saudi Arabia holds the Guinness World Record for the longest fully driverless metro on Earth. 176 kilometers, 6 lines, 85 stations, 0 drivers. Dubai's metro has carried over 1 billion passengers without one. Vancouver's SkyTrain has run driverless since 1985, 4 decades, no incidents that made international news. Engineers call this Grade of Automation 4, full automation, no staff, no exceptions. Globally, more than 1,200 kilometers of fully automated rail are running right now, with nearly 1,000 more under construction. In 2024 alone, over 42% of newly built metro systems were designed to run driverless from day one. Why has rail won an argument that cars and planes are still having? Because trains move on a track, no pedestrians stepping off curbs, no oncoming traffic, no unpredictable human 3 feet away making a last-second decision. Remove the chaos, and Autopilot stops being merely reliable. It becomes almost boring, which, for a machine you're trusting with your life, might be the highest compliment there is. Truck driving is the most common job in America for men without a college degree. That's the number that should worry you more than any crash statistic. Roughly 3.5 million Americans drive trucks for a living, in an industry already short 60,000 to 80,000 workers. A 2026 report from UC Berkeley's Labor Center found that fully autonomous trucking could put up to 294,000 of those jobs at risk. But mostly the best paying ones, long-haul, highway routes. Companies like Aurora and Bot Auto are already running driverless trucks, level 4, no human at all, on fixed corridors through Texas and Arizona. But local delivery, hazmat runs, construction sites, jobs that need judgment in unpredictable places, those stay human for a long time. And the U.S. Department of Transportation's own forecast admits the picture isn't simply robots replace people. Under a slow adoption scenario, it actually projects automation could add over 35,000 jobs a year and $68 billion to the economy. new roles like fleet monitors and remote supervisors for machines that didn't exist a decade ago. The uncomfortable truth: the jobs least likely to disappear are the messy, unpredictable human ones. The jobs most at risk are the long, straight, boring highway miles, exactly the kind of work automation was always going to come for first. So here's the paradox sitting at the center of all of this. By almost every measure that regulators can independently verify, Autopilot already outperforms tired, distracted, impatient humans in cars, in the sky, and especially on rails. Waymo's numbers hold up. Aviation automation helped make flying dramatically safer over 60 years. Driverless trains move billions of people with barely a headline. But trust isn't built on averages. It's built and destroyed in single moments. One bad sensor reading over the Java Sea, one robotaxi frozen in traffic with a dead SOS button. Remember those Tesla employees from earlier? 7 out of 9 wouldn't ride in their own company's car. That's the real reveal here. The statistics say the machines are winning, but some of the people who built them are the most hesitant of all because they're the ones who've actually watched it fail. So can you trust Autopilot? The honest answer: you probably already do, more than you realize. Every commercial flight you board is flown by computer for roughly 90% of the trip. If you live near a major city with a modern metro, there's a real chance the train underneath you has no driver at all. But full, unsupervised autonomy everywhere, in every car, on every road, with zero human oversight, hasn't arrived yet. Not this year. Probably not this decade. What we actually have is messier and more interesting than that. A slow, uneven handoff, industry by industry, where the easiest problems get automated first, and the hardest ones, judgment, chaos, split-second decisions, stay human a while longer. Next time you sit back and let the car, the plane, or the train do the driving, you might want to remember what's really underneath all that confidence. If you want to see what happens when this kind of automation goes catastrophically wrong in a completely different industry, check out the video on screen now.